Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome back to Amnesia: The Dark Descent, where it looks like we're making the final preparations to confront Alexander of Brennenburg at last. We have found Agrippa, and we are on our way to reconstructing an orb. We need 6 pieces. We currently have...
Daniel, you have gone too far.
0.
I have to stop you. I can't let you proceed any further. I'm sorry, my friend.
I don't know what he's going to try to do to stop me. But I have recently acquired, or should I say, I recently activated the machines that have allowed me to open up some heavy slabs.
You got the doors open? Good going. I knew you could do it.
I still have to find information about Johann Weiler. Now, here's a question. Left or right? Let's go to the left first. I don't know if it's actually going to matter. Okay. Can I touch this rope? Does not seem like I can. Nope. No, there we go. Okay. Now, what is this rope going to bring back up? Will I want what it has? I wonder. Can I use the... Aha! The slab of fresh meat as bait for whatever creatures are below. So... the bone is covered in mucus. Okay. See, this feels like very old school adventure game puzzles, where it's like, what are you even... Oh, that goes somewhere else. It had gone too far. The man was suffocating as he could no longer breathe properly between the lashes. Displeased, he started to look for the Damascus rose oil. What is this place?
How much more, Baron? How much more am I supposed to withstand? Kill me, old man! Kill me!
This one. Prepare him.
Okay, so there's staircase up. There's 3 doors. Let's try the door on the left first.
Who are you to question me?
Is this a piece of the orb? I think it is. What is that? The kidnapper sat on her knees with her hands tied behind her back. She felt her hands being lifted, and her body followed. Her shoulders gave way to the weight of her own body, and crackled and cracked loudly. The suspended woman cried hysterically as the men contemplated their next step. That is grim. I wonder if he's remembering actions that he did. That is affecting his sanity, and he has no sanity left. Great. That is very unfortunate. I'm guessing each doorway leads to a different piece of orb. I'm hoping... one of these doorways leads to increased sanity.
You're a man. How can you partake in this?
Is he all right? He is one of the wicked. Don't pay his lies any attention.
I'm not a bad man. It was an accident.
He set a man on fire.
It wasn't my fault. Why won't anyone listen?
That's horrible. Of course.
That's horrible. That's why it's it excuses the torture we're going to do to him. And lights.
No, please. Do anything. Whatever you want. Anything. Do anything. I've been upset.
Is there a light? Yes, there is. The arsonist kept crying as he was slowly lowered on and off the impaler. It didn't take much to break him. They had meant for him to die, but the torture was working beyond their expectations. It wasn't the method, it was the arsonist. He was different from the others. They could make him forget again. Huh. I don't see... any orb chunks. Oh, there we go. Piece of orb. Ah, I gained a little bit of sanity back. Oh yeah, I need the tar. Okay, so 2 pieces. I guess finding these pieces is a lot easier than expected. So I'm going to go into this last one. There's probably going to be another piece of orb. And then I can climb up to the... Okay, let's light some candles. And... the rapist hanged upside down, his tears soiled with blood flooding from his belly. The saw between his legs had lodged itself in the hip and wouldn't move any further. The men stepped back and waited for the victim to drain. That is dark. Now pick up. There we go. Oh, I see what they did there. That is not a good way to die. Is there a good way to die? I guess if you had to choose. Definitely not that. If you had to choose. Alright, so 3 pieces of the orb down. I'm guessing the other path leads to a different area, which will have the other remaining 3 pieces. Which means that the whole acquiring of this orb is a lot easier than expected. There's a portrait of some guy. There's Jesus upon the crucifix. Is this Alexander's private room? Where he keeps his private string? And his chair? Where is he gonna sit now? Nowhere. What is he gonna light his lantern with? Nothing. Is it you, my love, I miss the most? Or is it perhaps myself? I know what I've become. I'm not blind. I am a monster to them. A demonic sultan perched on a dark mountain top. There is little I can do to redeem myself. The Black Eagle fears me, and after Napoleon's defeat, it is only a matter of time before they will demand my head on a platter. I must remove myself from this land. This time it must work. If I can't return home now, I shall perish. Huh. Notes on torture. There are quite a few things to be said about torture. I had figured that the reaction I would get from the victims would be highly individual. Thankfully, this is not the case. The humans all have a very similar approach to dealing with physical pain and the terror of anticipation. I can't stress enough the importance of restraining the victims before proceeding. Even the most timid creature can break out in fits of violence, where their strength exceeds their expected prowess. If proper care has been put into breaking the victim, this should not be a problem, but it will also hinder the effect I'm after. The right steps to take are, therefore, to restrain while the victim is still dazed. Proceed by presenting the form of torture you are about to apply, and then to continue with the actual act. The point of presentation is to infuse terror. The human mind is extremely efficient, as it will trigger itself into greater fear simply by imagining it. While applying pain, make sure to avoid massive damage, as it will prove more efficient if the process can be sustained. Also, apply the pain in doses, if possible with breaks, to let the body settle. If you are whipping or cutting the victim, strike once. Wait for the pain to subdue, then strike again. As long as the body suffers, it will continue to produce the vitae and saturate the blood with its properties. Only with careful performance will the victim yield maximum effect. If the victim doesn't behave as expected, it is likely that all will be for naught. Before this happens, feed them the Amnesia drink, and try again later. I see. They use the title of the video game in the. I see what they did there. Oh, hold on. Tinderbox. And it looks like we're done here, so let's head across the hall. This is a lot of spinning. Where did I come from? I came from there. So let's head across the hall and presumably to either other torture cells. The thick liquid spread across his tongue. He swallowed excessively to consume every drop. He looked through the window at the widespread forest and the morning sun. Will this ever end? He thought.
But there's something else. You seem to have found all the ore pieces used in the transaction. Go to the choir and find the rest.
I know this. I'm aware. Let's see. A tough string made from hemp. Okay. Just checking. A wooden bucket filled with sticky tar. A more appropriate workspace is needed before tar can be applied. Okay. So the choir is most definitely on this side here. Anything interesting? There's a health potion if I could aim. There we go. Another tinderbox. which I used immediately for no particularly good reason. In court, the Order of the Black Eagle spew their politics and each other. The Order of the Black Eagle spew their politics at each other. They don't spew each other. That's an entirely different story. While I sit quietly in place, willfully forgotten. Once in a while, someone will notice me and lose themselves in a silent cower before regaining their senses. They all know I am the one and the same Alexander who helped their fathers and grandfathers to found this great order. I've seen them take their fathers' places, and they too will grow old and pass away, while I remain the same, aged not by time, but by anguish. And tinderbox. And note. Agrippa channels Wire. Wire taunts me from the other side. I trusted him with my true reason for my efforts, and still he insists on me releasing Agrippa. How an enlightened man can show such lack of compassion in a seat of power disgusts me. I can't bring myself to part from Agrippa as he is, and has been for centuries, my only link to the worlds beyond. So that's why he's keeping a dead man hung in his cell. Wire claims he tries his best to release me from my banishment, but that he needs me to give him Agrippa first, so he too can help. If he could guarantee success, I would happily oblige. But how am I to part from him if my return might be denied? I know what they are capable of. I have seen their deception. Optimism is a most hopeless feeling, but I must retain it. I shall prepare for his release. To release Agrippa without killing him, Wire told me to feed him a tonic made from a paralyzer, vitae, and tampter. The poisonous fungi should work as a paralyzer if I can find the internal gland from a large specimen. The choir seems to be fertile grounds for this sort. Okay. I should be able to extract its contents with the proper tools. The vitae could be extracted as usual from an agonized human victim's blood. I just need large amounts to distill it properly. Remember to collect this during the next torture session. Tampter, on the other hand, will provide more difficult. I don't think it exists in this world. Simply writing the word with these letters looks wrong. I believe it's property of the secretion in the water-dwelling Karnk. I will have to address Wire with this, as he will have to supply me with a host. Also, a properly prepared well should suffice to contain it. Wait a second. I've already got that then. Because that's on the bone. Okay, let us carry on. Head over to the choir, because we know there's a thing there. Will this ever end? Yes, it will end. Maybe. I have my doubts. Alright, so this is marked as the entrance to the choir, so I don't know if this is going to be a much bigger area or just a link to a different area. After the men had secured the prisoner, the ritual began. Alright, so nothing in the bucket. So no stone pieces so far.
15th of August, 1839. The blood wards are failing. The shadow beckons, and its cry disarms my actions. Hurry, no time to spare. You have to kill another. Alexander produces a knife. He wants me to cut the flesh. Do it. Save yourself. He is a murderer, Daniel. He is evil. A cold-blooded killer. Hurry. Alexander, you must let me be. I have to concentrate. Take the man. Cut the lines, cut the flesh, watch the blood spill, let it come. I didn't do anything.
That is a very specific way of cutting somebody.
Cut the lines, pick the man, cut the lines. Leave the man cries.
What if you accidentally go off the lines?
I did well. One life for another. You hear me, guardian of the orb? I did all this for you. Now, once more, withdraw your shadow from my domain. Alexander, there isn't much time. I can feel it. We must act swiftly. I will do whatever it takes.
Clearly. Although I suppose here's a question. What would you do if you were in his situation, in which a mysterious supernatural force was hunting you? Would you become the monster in order to survive? I mean, it's clearly like they didn't just Alexander didn't just say, torture this man and you will live, kill this man and you will live. Like, he presented somebody who was a prisoner, who was a murderer, and said, kill this man. Carefully cutting the man open made him think. Okay, I read that. Like, think of people that you don't think should be allowed to live. And if you are in that position, would you kill them yourself?
My intentions, Daniel. Salvation. It used to be yours, but now you only seek misplaced revenge. How do you justify your violence? Is it for the greater good? Are you doing the world a
I think I'm being hunted.
It is you who caused all this pain and death. If you had accepted your fate and submitted to the orb when you first discovered it, none of this would have happened. It is curiosity in league with your selfishness that is killing us both.
And I'm not entirely sure where it is. That's... Nope, nope. Nah. Okay.
The wheel is good for keeping your victims still during the procedure. They can be bound around the circumference or simply stretched across, tying limbs to the spokes and rim. All tools are by this point useful, and you may administer the torture in any way you like. But the forte of the wheel is the gaps. When you have decided that the victim shall die, you can smash their limbs with a hammer, making them fold in between the frame.
But they'll die. Too quickly, I mean.
No, don't worry. The human body is much more resilient.
No, they won't die that quickly.
Until they finally succumb.
You can feel better about your murder. Also, that was quite awkward, and by that I mean my escape from the monster. So this is going to be similar to the other area, except more dangerous, I imagine. So let us inspect the wheel. The murderer's limbs were tied to the spokes of the wheel. They turned the wheel slowly, but with intent, so the rope secured around his legs stretched and cracked the bone. He no longer had the strength to scream. The two men looked at each other knowingly and took a hammer and struck the victim's chest in a final act of mercy. Or perhaps an only act of mercy. Alright. Piece of orb acquired. Sanity. So I guess it's kind of up there. So now I need to find 2 more doors in this giant hall. Which is problematic because it is being patrolled. Can I jump up here? I mean, I think the answer is possibly, but is it worth the effort? Yes, it is. Because then I can easily go across the other side. And here's a doorway. Oh, hold on. Why is there a cow? The traitor did not know what to think of the brass bull as he was forced to enter it. Only when the heat of fire began to scorch his skin and cook his flesh did he realize it was to be his tomb. His screams of pain echoed inside the brass chamber and traveled through the complex instrument which was the bull's head. Outside, the men could hear the brazen bull bellow. Such alliteration. There we go. Piece of the orb acquired. Yeah, the pipe coming out of the bull's mouth is a bit odd. Let us... So I was supposed to figure out how to... Let's see, I need blood. Can I acquire any from... I think I've got the mucus from the well. I've got the poison gland from the mushroom. But I forgot what I needed from... Let's see, blah blah blah. To release him, I need Paralyzer, Vitae, and Tapter. The fungi is in the choir, which I got. The Vitae can be extracted from a human victim's blood. The trouble is, I haven't found any living human victims. And then the Tapter, I believe I've already got from the well. Okay. Also, I will use some oil. And let us... Run, run, run. Run as fast as we can. He can't catch us. We're the gingerbread man. Now, the trouble that I know I'm going to fall into is where the hell is the beginning of this area? Because this place has kind of become a maze. I'm pretty sure he's right behind me. I don't know how well he takes corners. So I'm going to hope for the best. Though I'm probably going to experience the worst in... Oh, here's the door. Oh, damn it. Hide and wait. That is very boring. That is not the game I want to play. Now, where am I? Oh, I'm back at the entrance. And I accidentally left again, even though I did not intend to. Okay, so let's try that again. Find the remaining door. Hopefully, that will have the last ingredient we need. Because otherwise, there's got to be quite a bit of backtracking in order to accomplish. And the thing is, like, with areas like this, it makes exploration very tricky. Because, one, it's dark. Two, your lantern oil is always running out. And three, you are being hunted. So I think this is a safe direction. This will lead me to the path I haven't been. Ah, to the Iron Maiden. That was kind of creepy. That spooked me a bit. The forger stood absolutely still. The casket had been closed, but a faint light made its way inside. A myriad of spikes pointed at him, glittering as they waited for his body to slip just for a moment. His knee jerked and he felt blood trickle down his leg. In pain, his head fell slightly forward. It took him a while to realize his eye had ruptured and begun to leak. And there is the last remaining piece of orb. And some remaining items that are conveniently strewn about the room. Alright, that done, let us head back to Agrippa. Maybe he'll let us know what we're supposed to do with all of these shards. Because I still need a workstation in order to reassemble them, which might be somewhere I've already been. It's hard to tell. Like, sometimes the game's non-linearity means that like the path in which I'm going from one section to the other means I might be somewhere before I'm supposed to be there. But at the very least, I'm pretty sure I know I'm supposed to have acquired all of these shards, so I'm still on the right path regardless. Okay. Some more earth. I wonder if the earthquakes are caused by Alexander's tampering, or if...
You found Vile's recipe. Then there might still be a chance. Listen carefully. Alexander is working on opening a gate, a door to another realm. It's where he wants to go. If you could put your anger aside, let him open the portal before you take your revenge. Let me pass the gate, Daniel. Please, find the ingredients and prepare the tonic via disguise. And do so before you assemble the orb.
Okay.
The barrier keeping you from the inner sanctum will only be breached for a short time. Unless everything is taken care of before mending the orb, you won't be able to save me.
I will see what I can do. Let's see. He wants a specific tonic. I want to say I have part of it. So that's... The tonic has to be made with care.
I see you have all the ore pieces you need. I know I have no right to ask anything of you, but if you could find it in your heart to gather the ingredients for Vire's tonic before attempting to mend the ore, there might still be a chance for you to save me. Please, my fate is in your hands.
Okay, appears that I missed this while I was passing through it the first time. And that is the fact that I can combine the string with the glass jar and then use the glass jar on this drain right here. Like, this kind of reminds me, this is very much like old adventure game logic. Like a lot of rubbing items against each other and hoping for the best. But let's see if we can... Can't add anything directly into blood. The substance needs to be purified first. Okay, so it appears that we have everything we can acquire at this moment. I suppose we're decently supplied in oil. Got a few cuts and bruises. Let us check on the office, see if there is the workspace there. Although I believe I already know there's not. I know there's supposed to be a place I'm supposed to be, but I don't remember the exact location. I think I'm supposed to go to the... so fast, so spirally. Okay. I think I'm supposed to go to the chancel now. Or actually, let's see what Agrippa has to say. Okay, so this way leads farther on to the chancel, which will, in theory, I believe, lead to where the orb is supposed to be used. But I don't know if I've actually found the place where I could put the orb back together. Oh, hello. Okay, that was fast. Sleep. Hazel spent all summer in bed. He used to read to her after helping father with his work. In his mind, he was like Scheherazade, and as long as he kept telling the story, she would not die. So those are his servants, but not the shadow, I presume. How is my sanity? My wound is bleeding.
You had me worried. Quite frankly, I'm not sure what to do with you. I hold no grudge against you, Daniel. We are so very much the same, you and I.
I hate that, cliche.
Amnesia mixture. It does explain so much of your behavior. You never did finish what you set out to do. You talked about redemption, how you would face the orb's shadow and save our work, and me. I will grant you another chance to redeem yourself. You can wait here and stop the shadow. Thank you, friend.
Yeah, there we go. So what does that gain me? Can I... Solid metal... Oh, hello. What are you? Not loose enough. I wonder if I'm timed. Because I believe this, from what I've read, this is a sequence where you can be killed and there is an ending. But I am confused as to what I need to do. That is clearly not the answer. Of course. There's a brick that looks exactly like every other brick around it. Oh my. Oh, do I need this pipe? I don't know if that was a happy snarl or a unhappy snarl. There is little left to say. I write solely to prevent myself from revisiting the memories of these last few days. If I'm fortunate, I will fall asleep and time will pass without effort. I've begun to wean myself of my prison. When I first arrived, I felt like I was being buried inside a tomb, but now I feel the close walls comforting me. As long as I'm in here, there is no pain. The walls protect me from the outside. I even laughed earlier as one of my wardens dropped a key down the pipes. It gave me hope for a second, thinking I could escape if only I could somehow reach it from here. In my dreams, Alexander, I am king. In my dreams, I best you and escape your clutches, and return with all the knights of the realm carrying pistols and sabers. In my dreams. But alas, that did not quite work out. Okay, another naked man. There seemed to be quite the supply of naked men in this castle. Like, you think you're all out of naked men, and then bam, even more. Let's see if we can get said key from the... Can we get said key from here? Yep. Some of these controls can be very wonky. Like, sometimes you just hold down... Like, I'm playing this on the PS4, and sometimes you can hold down the right analog stick in a specific direction, and sometimes you don't have to. Oh, the buckets. I'll use the bucket on the string. The string can go into the well. And I will hopefully acquire said key from that. Oh. There we go. The controls are a bit finicky, but if I position myself in such a fashion, it's filled with water. Okay. So what do I do with it? Splash it on somebody? Use the bucket of water on the door? Okay. So apparently I should have paid more attention to the story of the missing key, and it is in this specific pipe that is way over here that the key was placed inside. The door, please. There we go. Nope. Accidentally didn't open the door. Maybe I should start closing these doors behind me. God damn it. That is not the way. With any luck, I don't have to worry about any other dead ends, but this is clearly the shadow. Which is much more imposing and mysterious than any of the previous foes. When Hazel turned 15, she had lived 3 years longer than Dr. Tate had foreseen. Her parents had given up from exhaustion and decided to have her committed for permanent treatment at Canterbury Hospice, but she was still alive. She had embraced him and wished him a grand adventure in Algeria. Okay. Thank you for watching. Questions, comments, recommendations for something to play next? Comment down below or send it on over to itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. That's itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. So long for now.